Okay, here we are in the UN basement. Earlier today, there were mannequins with military uniforms right here in the 1B basement hallway. They've now been covered with white sheets. White sheets in the UN. What's under the white sheet? We'll give it a quick view. There are many hypocritical and outrageous things in the UN. They killed 10,000 people in Haiti using APCs just like the ones shown, and they didn't pay a penny. They've committed abuses in CAR and elsewhere. But these ghosts, the ghosts of UNAMID, will end be our closing shot. Look, even the peacekeepers need to hide themselves. Too much. Let's start with this. No teaser. The Pindad company of Indonesia is selling tanks inside the United Nations. For all your tank needs, there's only one place to come. At the United Nations. With the ghost. Now, who authorized it? Nobody knows. Look, your UN armored personnel vehicle with a high-speed machine gun on top. Because, as Mr. Lacroix said, we're just not taking it anymore. Look, army shooting competition with Pindad's weapons. So basically, what you have here is a weapons manufacturer advertising in the UN hallway. But very discreetly. Who's this? Who's this ghost? I think this might be a custom-made sheep. No, look. UNAMID. These were the guys who were supposed to defend civilians in Darfur. Maybe that's why they're hiding their heads in shame. Because not only did they not protect the civilians, they gave their training bases to the Janjaweeds. Here they are. Good to go. Knee pads, sidearm. Let's check them out. Yep, right there. Wait a second. Now this is progressive. Okay. We want to memorialize this. Verticile aircraft. Medical evacuation, fast tire. Oh, VIP transport. This is the Gooter. The Gooter wants to travel in speed. This is private jet. They can actually drop bombs as they're going. Look, I think he's dropping something. No, maybe it's food. It's transgender. Now, what's under this? We don't know. Hopefully we'll come back and actually attend this event because these guys have armored personnel carriers for all your putting down of riot needs. Absolutely ready for that. Light class aircraft, that's probably okay. Although it's the VIP seating. Unmanned, we've got drones. Wulun drones. It's too bad. It's too bad that Hervé Ladsus is gone because he would love this. This would be his hallway. Wait a second. Military equipment. Preface. It's a year of opportunity. Look, it's a practice bomb. These are some pretty big bullets for sale in the United Nations. I don't know if the gift shop is still open. Take a look. Hollow point, that's for maximum damage. This is inside the United Nations. Between the conference room, let's check it out. Bullets for sale? You can either go to the PrepCom for the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty, or, of course, you can just give it up and buy the bullets. Here it is. Pindad. Remember that. It's the only name you need to know. That and Antonio Guterres. We're going to check out the other ghost here. Pindad, they might actually have, I don't know what they have under there. They do have a coat stand. Let's check out who this face is. It's time to reveal. It's time for the big reveal. Who's this? Who's this gentleman in the UN lobby? Wait a moment. Yeah, of course. The UN. Hang on. Okay. there we go. What mission? This is not even with a mission. This is either one of those secret UN missions or a mission yet to be named. Because they're ready for anything, okay? If you're fighting in Mindanao, there's one guy who I think would really love this, and that would be the world. United Nations put down riots wherever they may occur. Win shooting competitions with Pindad's weapon. Okay then, we began with the ghost, and that's the way we'll end. If you want to buy a tank, please come to the United Nations, where the weapons are for sale. Exactly. Out to pasture. All right, we may have hit our end, though, but we're going to end on this discreet shot of ghosts in the United Nations. To be continued. Or maybe not. Maybe these ghosts don't want to go so quickly. Here we are in the United Nations. It's known as the House of Peace, where, for example, today, in this basement room, Conference Room B, there was a meeting about the role of conflicts and role of diamonds in fueling conflicts. A very high-minded subject and a very serious one. These often involve light arms, small arms and light weapons, child soldiers, all the many things the UN is said to be campaigning against. There are, of course, for sale golf balls, but this is just a sideshow. What we want to show you today is something that we saw in the morning and then saw covered up in the afternoon. Right here in the same 1B basement with conference rooms of the United Nations. It's a very grand location. During the General Assembly week, this area here is all roped off and heads of state ride up and down on the elevators. Here we have photographs of the many good works of the United Nations, a listing of its many meetings on Myanmar and Third Committee and the Non-Proliferation Treaty. And it all sounds great. Making migration work for all, the Global Migration Group. And so everything seems a book event about demography of forced migration. This would have been in the past moderated by Maher Nasser, an individual who threatened Intercity Press's accreditation for its reporting. But he's on sabbatical at Columbia, learning probably how to help his boss, Alison Smale, censor even better. But now we come to this area here. This is the UN basement. We wanted to show you the run-up to it. The screen is dark, but the book is real. What are they selling here? Wait a second. Okay, bullets, cartridges. There's even some small grenades. Somehow, this is inconsistent with the meeting about diamonds. I don't know. You could say it's crowd control, except most of these are shooting live rounds. And although there's some APCs, there's also, I believe, an armored vehicle with a cannon and a missile launcher. Yes, you can buy your own missile launcher in the United Nations. This is being displayed and advertised right here in the UN. Pindad, its medium tank. PT Pindad, Tercero, Bandung office, Jakarta office. All the contacts in case you want to own your own Indonesian tank. What's under the sheet, I don't know. But Pindad is coming up with the APCs for the UN peacekeepers. They're shooting their weapons. Again, the personnel carrier, Pindad. This whole side of the room seems to be Pindad. Pindad may also have drones or unmanned aerial vehicles. Wulung. This is the Wulung. It's a typical mission. You're doing a little monitoring. Maybe you want to drop something down on somebody. You never know. You can move your troops in a light airplane. Nice. And the Jerry. Look over here. The NPT was meeting only today. The PrepCon for the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty was taking place right here, where outside, tanks, missiles, rocket-propelled grenades. Now, somebody apparently in a fit. Oh, there's Antonio Guterres' private jet space. Somebody in a fit of discretion or cover-up of the UN put a ghost sheet over this ambiguous figure. Quite tall, actually. I mean, it's quite an imposing thing. If they'd actually deployed these mannequins to Darfur, maybe they would have actually protected civilians instead of mocking them to their deaths. Did you know that Antonio Guterres this year met with Omar al-Bashir, indicted for genocide in Darfur, and he didn't tell the ICC in advance? It took inner-city press asking to get them to admit that it took place. And then they just stopped answering questions about why they didn't comply with the rules. Now, Big Tony has left again, perhaps on a jet not unlike this one. VIP transport. Okay. Now, these guys are selling uniforms. It might look really rough, but it's pretty much uniforms. And they had a display of their uniforms right here. You know, some guys are covering their faces because, you know, when you're operating, this could be for the Philippines. You know, you really want some soldiers whose faces can't be seen. Very important. Spinning, weaving. This also is in Indonesia. But now, who is this imposing gentleman in the black boots? Or is it a gentleman? Is it a gentleman? Or another ambiguous figure? It's unclear why tanks would be advertised inside the United Nations. But here it is. If you need a tank, you can buy it right in the UN. If peace doesn't work, Pindad has got the product that you need. An absolute travesty. It's a travesty. Let's go forward. Missile launcher, recon type. Komodo, it's like a Komodo dragon. It's a Komodo APC. ANOA. Whoa. Now these are the kind of things that are used for mass shootings. And you can buy them right here in the United Nations. And so, we ask the ghosts, how can this be? How can it be? Let's try to get a closing shot. I want to say